This is Deb Cottle, producer of Women with Guts and the creator of the 4-Step Guts Formula for Success. This inspirational video program is designed to help you overcome life's challenges and obstacles. In this series, you will meet 4 incredible women who had the guts to turn negative situations into more positive and productive ones, despite the odds stacked against them. Each of these women are treasured friends who exemplify the true meaning of the 4-Step Guts Formula. In a nutshell, GUTS is an acronym for each step in the process. G is for gain knowledge, U is for use positive affirmations, T is to train your thoughts, and S is to set realistic goals. These compelling interviews highlight each woman's unique and inspiring story while demonstrating the power of these simple but effective principles. So I hope you learn from these incredible women ways you can overcome the obstacles in your life.
One of my very favorite role models is Denise Brown. Denise is a sister of Nicole Brown Simpson. And I'm going to let Denise tell you firsthand, when we went and interviewed her out in California for this documentary called Women with Guts, what she had to say about gaining knowledge in her situation, because she did not know anything about domestic violence, okay? And I want you to listen to her story and understand what kind of guts she had to have to move forward with her life and to help other women around the world.
I became an advocate June 12, 1994. And actually, I wasn't even an advocate then. That was just when my whole world just turned upside down. Nicole was murdered, my sister, who, we were very, very close, especially when we were growing up.
I'm Paula Zahn in New York tonight. In a Los Angeles courtroom today, new arguments over the evidence in the O.J. Simpson case. This time the issue is whether the prosecution has enough evidence to try Simpson for the murders of his ex-wife Nicole and Ronald Goldman.
But after Nicole's murder, that's when I actually became an advocate. And I was the first one to say, no, Nicole's not a battered woman. Because I didn't think that she was. Because I thought, okay, well, Nicole and I, being so close in age, that she would have said something to me. We were so close with everything that we did in every part of our lives and growing up together and being those 2 little Indians that were always together, that we always talked about everything, I thought. But that was that dirty little secret that Nicole just wanted to keep a secret. She didn't want anybody to know. And what I learned on June 12, 1994, after that, my father found her notes and diaries. And reading those notes and diaries, looking through them, and actually seeing places that we were there. We were there. We were there. We were there. We were at these places where the abuse was taking place. But we didn't know it was taking place because it was happening behind closed doors. So this is the cycle of domestic violence that I knew nothing about. Well, I said, okay. I said, what can I do? I didn't know. I didn't know anything about the cycle of domestic violence. I didn't know about domestic violence at that point. When I found out about domestic violence and I found out the things that were in her diaries, my mother and I, we went to a shelter and we asked them, okay, what is this? What is going on here? They started educating me about the cycle of domestic violence, the power and control of one human being over another. The verbal, the emotional, the psychological abuse, the chipping away at somebody's self-esteem. You're ugly, you're stupid, you're worthless, nobody's going to want you. That escalates into the physical violence, the hitting, the kicking, the punching, the throwing up against walls. And then there's the honeymoon phase of the, oh baby, I'm so sorry. The gifts, the flowers, and the excuses. And that's the cycle of violence I knew nothing about. And see, so that was my education into all of it. And it was like such a shock that I couldn't believe it, but I figured, you know what, if I don't know anything about this, then a lot of people don't know anything about this. So that's when I started speaking, and I started traveling, and I started educating myself. The shelter that my mom and I went to, they gave me books to read, they gave me fact sheets, they started educating me. But my real education came from the women in the shelters, talking to them. The education and everything that I learned about domestic violence, and I continue to learn about domestic violence, was just a real shock. And I wish that it wouldn't have been my sister's life that had me learn about what domestic violence was. And I always talk about domestic violence as being that umbrella of the child abuse, the teen violence, the sexual assault, the elder abuse. I just truly believe that domestic violence is that umbrella to all of those things that we're encompassing. So educate yourself so you can educate somebody else, and that you can stop, something from occurring in your life or a loved one's life. Right after Nicole's murder, legislation was changed. I mean, everybody ran to their legislators. The Violence Against Women Act. I was asked by Joe Biden and Orrin Hatch. They co-authored the very first Violence Against Women Act. And they asked me to come up because it was stalled in Senate appropriations. So I went up to Washington, D.C., and I said, okay, I did my whole speech in front of Congress and in front of these legislators, and we were able to get more funding for shelters. It went from 18 million to 32 million, which was wonderful, but there were always these loopholes that in the laws, and things needed to be changed. Everybody just scrambled to their legislators to get things done. Thank God. But it took Nicole's death for people to realize that it could happen to anybody.
But since '94, the Violence Against Women Act has had a significant impact. And in terms of, we don't know what's not reported, but the reported crimes has decreased 60%. This is a big deal.
There's states that don't even have a mandatory hold policy, so that a victim of domestic violence can get her act together and get her thoughts together just a little bit, to get some help to get out of that situation before that person's released out of jail to come back and ultimately really do some, harm to that person. So it's just, there's so much, and there's such an education when it comes to domestic violence. People ask me, how did you turn such a negative into a positive? And I sit there and I go, well, I guess it was just something I felt like I needed to do. Well, the affirmations came in handy. My mother's, positive way of thinking. There's all kinds of books out there, with real positive affirmations and real positive sayings. And my mother, she would read these kind of books, and that would be something she would do. She would read the Bible too. My mother, she's a very spiritual woman, not religious. We're not a religious family, but spiritual. Just believe. Believe in a higher power, no matter what that is, no matter who your God is, no matter what you call him, but believe, because I think it'll pull you through a lot of unhappiness, and that's what it did for us. It pulled us through a lot of heartache. And like I said, my mom, she was everything. She was the glue to our family. She kept our whole family together. I always believe that I'm doing something right, I never believe that I'm trying to cause anybody any pain or anything. So, I have people in the media, out of the media, people always saying, you're not doing this right, you should be doing this should be happening, whatever. And I go, you know what? I finally realized after a lot of years, I can't make everybody happy. I can't please everybody. So you know what? I'm not even going to try. I just know what I'm going to do. And if I'm a good person, and I know that, so I know that whatever I do is going to be okay. And I've come to grips with that, and I've come to terms with that. I know what I'm doing is right, and I know that the more I talk about this, and the more I try to get information out there, and the more I try to spread the word, you may not like my tactics, you may not like the way I do it. But you know what? As long as I feel comfortable in my own skin about the way I do it, that's all that matters. The Elite Speakers Bureau was created because I've been speaking about domestic violence, and more needed to be done. More people's voices need to be heard. And that's why we started the Speakers Bureau. It was just something that was so needed, I thought. And it's just a different way of getting the word out there, and making sure that, no more lives are lost. And that's, I guess, what was the most important part of it. You know, I sit there and I look at it and I think, you know, you got to have guts to go out and do something that's not always the norm. I think you have to have guts to do that. A woman in this day and age to have, you know, strength, to believe in what you believe in, to get out there and actually talk about that. I think you need guts for that. You know, you needed to have the strength and the courage to get out there and to believe in yourself and to believe in something and go out there and get it. And I think any woman that has the wherewithal and the, you know, the guts to do something like that still in a man's world, right on, all the power to you.
Pretty powerful stuff, right? But look what she accomplished. Look at that example of a woman with guts who took an incredibly negative situation and turned it around to be able to use that to share and help other women not become a victim like her sister. But she decided that she couldn't be everywhere to all people, so she started the Elite Speakers Bureau about a year ago, and actually that's who brought me in to speak to you today. My experience is a little bit different than most of her speakers, but she calls me the good news girl. I'm the good news girl, and I'm here to share guts, so that's why she has me. She's also an advisor to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Has anybody been to Austin, Texas, the National Domestic Violence Hotline? It's pretty amazing to see what they do on a day-to-day basis, taking those calls. That 800 number all go through that office. We were able to listen to some of those calls and to witness the caregivers and what they would say and what they would do, and it was pretty miraculous. It's a tough job, and I know you all have tough jobs being in this environment. Denise also saw the need to help teens and help young people learn about healthy relationships, dating violence, and all those kind of things where domestic violence can start. So she actually is on our board of Enriching Me Cafe, which is a nonprofit program for teens. And it helps teens learn life skills and to conquer, you know, things like dating violence, underage drinking, abuse, verbal abuse, and also self-esteem issues and things like that. So I'm a #1 Denise fan, so thank you for watching that with me. This is a young lady that I met 2 years ago. Her name is Rubyanna Garza, and she came from a multicultural environment. She's Mexican, Spanish, Native American, and American. And I found that Ruby had an incredible story to tell.
I was actually on my way moving out of Florida that day. It was a pretty strange day. That's when we met for the first time, and I was feeling down that day, but you know, Deb came and put music on for me, and music just really did a lot of great things. And throughout that, me and Deb, we bonded in our common goal to help people. I chose inspirational music as my passion for the same reason that it chose me, I think. Music speaks to people, and if you listen to it, it's like it's a conversation with that artist to that listener. When I was about age 7, I had gone through some difficult times involving molestation. In fact, I've always seen my mom be treated physically wrong, abused. I recall a horrific memory. One night, I heard lots of arguing. I was just a little girl still, and I was going through what I was going through at that time. And I was seeing my mom be abused, and and I actually seen her legs shaking one time. I believe he was strangling her, and I was so scared and so helpless as a child that all I could do was run outside, you know, and I knelt down on the sidewalk and I prayed to God and I prayed to anything that was good in life, because I had no help. I couldn't tell anybody. And all I wanted to do was protect my mom. You know, I hated to see her suffer. And we both were being abused by the same person. And, you know, they told me if I were to say anything that they would, they would hurt my mom. Well, I believed that because they did hurt my mom. I had to stop it somehow, and I didn't know how it was gonna end, but one day I got the guts to stand up and say, this is happening to me, and I need help. And people came through out of everywhere, social services, you know, free lawyers, free counseling. You know, they tried to take me away from my mom, but once they realized that my mom was being abused as well, they realized that she had no idea what was going on. So I was able to stay with my mom. She's my everything. It was a very difficult time in my life. I went to court with it. I put my offender away. You know, I had to do some counseling, and it helped me. It helped me a lot. My family was there supporting me all the way. Without them, I wouldn't have gotten through it. At age 13 is when I kind of really got to change things around and start to have like a normal type of childhood life again, and had lots of friends, and sports was a very big influence in my life. My brothers and sisters, they were all very, very great at what they did in sports. So I mean, it was good to be around people that were positive. Through that, I learned music. I had a joy, I had a passion that grew from beyond because of my pain being so deep. I think that I wanted to help others get out of that. So the inspirational words and the meaning behind my music, oh, that is everything in the world to me. It's, metaphorically speaking, the air that I breathe, water that I need. You know, it's my lifeline. I've been writing since I was 16 years old. And I'd be in high school, and I should have paid more attention to my studies, but I would be buried in words and poems, and just, I thrived off that. I mean, like I said, it was my antidote for getting out of my pain. It was my medicine. It was everything to me. Deb is a motivational speaker who has done countless achievements all on her own already. And she was thinking about combining music with her speaking, and she came up with this great idea called Music and Motivation. And with this, we combined my songs and her speaking, and we put it all together in this beautiful package. And I was so honored and blessed to be a part of this project, that I know that people can use this on a daily basis. They can go through and they can use each song as a guideline to getting through their own challenges and to achieve their own dreams. I've had a lot of struggles here, but those struggles are not struggles, they were challenges. And at first, it took me a long time to realize that. And it's all about the way I perceive things, and that's another thing of using positive affirmations and trusting myself and setting the goals that I needed to accomplish what it was that I really had. Like, the big picture was to succeed in music so that I could help my family and my friends and all those that are very important to me, and to help others that want to help themselves. I'm going to shine. I'm going to show the world exactly what I am capable of and what I can do. I am going to be one of those entertainers that can be someone that you are entertained with, but also someone that you've learned something from.
That's Ruby. And she went on from there. When we met her, we produced this Music and Motivation CD, and I worked with her to help her with her self-talk and her thoughts and gaining knowledge and all the steps of the GUTS formula. And this is something that we accomplished together after that.
I'ma take it to the top, show the whole world what I've got. I've been waiting my whole life. Ooh, yeah, I'm in search of me. Oh, yes, I'm trying to be everything I dream. It's not been that easy for me to trust and believe and keep on my feet. And I know what it's like to have nothing and try to make something out of your dreams. I've been waiting my whole life. Ooh, I've been waiting for my shot. I'ma take it to the top, show the whole world what I've got. I've been waiting my whole life. Ooh, yeah, I'm in search of me. Oh, yes, I'm trying to be everything I dream. Wanna get mad for the things I don't have, but then I take a step back and then I see I know what it takes to create a way for everyone to feel free. Can't let nothing hold me down. I stand up and shout out. Life. Ooh, I've been waiting for my shot. I'ma take it to the top, show the whole world what I've got. I've been waiting my whole life. Ooh, yeah, I'm in search of me. Oh, yes, I'm trying to be everything I dream.
I think that we can do so much by sharing stories and empowerment stories. That's why I wanted to show you Ruby's, because compared to where she was and where she is now and where she's going to go, she is a woman with guts. And we all have amazing stories to tell and amazing stories that we can share. So I want to encourage you to find those.
Dr. Connie Haan is an inspiration for every woman in pursuit of a career. Against all odds, Dr. Haan identified her goal to be a doctor early in life and didn't let anyone stop her from achieving it. She also wrote a book called A Physician's Story, which chronicles her unique and empowering life.
My background is one of a very simple farming family and very good-hearted people. We had a small farm. I am the oldest of 3 children with 2 younger brothers, and my parents' approach was that, first of all, we often couldn't afford some of the luxuries in life, but also the fact, even when we could, something like a dishwasher got in the way of all of the good conversation that happened while you were washing dishes. It was a very utilitarian environment. Children were there to do jobs. We worked hard, but we learned a really, really strong work ethic. And it embedded a lot of really strong values in the way that I appreciate people and appreciate integrity, the value of your word, your name, and how you relate to other people. My educational background is nowadays a little bit unique in that I started school in a one-room country schoolhouse with no indoor plumbing. But my interest in medicine in my educational world really came out when I was in junior high. And I was pretty sure at that time that I was going to be a physician, and then I just had to figure out what kind. I looked for books, resources, wherever I could find them to try to help me sort that out. I also learned through my studies and through my inquiry and gaining more knowledge about what I needed to do to build on those strengths and interests in order to identify that my personality and my particular strengths were best suited toward being a surgeon and a cardiothoracic surgeon in particular. My international travels began actually with an opportunity to travel to China with People to People International. And it happened to be the year when Hillary Clinton was going to the World Congress meeting on major health and women's rights issues. So I got to travel with a group of women professionals and meet with our professional counterparts in China. There were lots of folks who had opinions about whether women could be doctors, could be surgeons, and especially could be cardiac surgeons. And some had no problem sharing those opinions with me. And I learned quickly that the only way to prove them wrong was just do it. But that meant that I had to keep a positive frame of mind, and I had to think about the labels that I assigned myself as well as the labels that other people were allowed to assign to me. I had one teacher who used a little of what I believe was reverse psychology on me at one point, because before I finished high school, he asked me what I was going to do, and I told him I was going to pre-med in college and I was going to be in medical school. And his response stunned me at the time because he said, "Yeah, you'll be rocking your kids someday and looking at your books on the shelf going, I used to want to be a doctor." And I could not believe my own reaction to that. I didn't argue with him. I was stunned by his response, but I could not get over how suddenly it was like someone pushed a button and had thrown down the gauntlet and giving me the ultimate challenge, because the answer in my mind was, I'll prove you wrong. In addition, I think it's really important to learn whatever you can about how to stay positive, to apply yourself in ways that help you motivate yourself as well as help you motivate others. And I think that positive frame of mind can make a huge difference in how you face challenges, because believe me, there will never be a time when you don't have stress or don't have challenges. And the fact is, no matter what you do in life or choose not to do in life, there will be stresses. It's pretty hard to find a stress-free life. But I believe the key is in how we meet those challenges and how we handle those stresses. I believe firmly in setting goals, and there were many people, both professionally and as well as friends and family, who couldn't quite figure out why I wasn't quite content to be a piano teacher or a farmer's wife down the road, and actually lost touch with some family members because of it. But the fact is, I believe that it's really, really important to live your purpose, not somebody else's goals, but to listen to the inputs that are provided you and use those to critically evaluate what you can learn from them.
My most treasured and favorite role model is a dear friend from Illinois, Pat Gulick. Pat is truly an example of a woman with guts. We grew up together, 2 houses apart, and despite Pat's disability, she never complained about her condition or limitations. Pat always pushed the envelope, armed with a never-ending positive attitude.
Well, I'm not always positive. Everybody has their down moments and their negative times. But I don't know, it's just easier to look at the positive than the negative. I mean, just as many good things can happen to you as bad. Sometimes I really have to force myself to do it, especially in the last 14 years since I've been alone. It's very easy to get like panicky if I don't consciously tell myself I'm not going to go there, I'm not going to do that. So I have to work at it more now that I'm alone, but it seems doable. Well, my disability is cerebral palsy. It's a birth defect. I'm affected, I'm affected in various degrees, but primarily from the waist down. I'm spastic paraplegic, which means I have very limited controllable motion. I have spastic motion, which is always fun. And then I have full sensation in my legs. I've been here since June of '03. I was on the waiting list here at Hanson for almost 2 years before I got chosen to be part of the program. Hanson is a therapeutic riding stable, therefore their program deals more in the therapeutic benefits and aspects of horseback riding as opposed to strictly pleasure riding.
The most amazing part of this program is the way in which the participants are lifted onto the horses from their wheelchair stationed from a raised ramp. A modified type of crane apparatus comes down from the ceiling and scoops up the rider from their wheelchair and carefully places them on the horse's saddle. It's a very time-consuming procedure, especially for a half-hour lesson, but totally worth it for the rider. Each rider has several spotters who not only help the individuals mount the horses, but also walk beside them as guides.
I love horses and I love riding, and so as long as you put me on a horse, I'm fairly happy. Right now it's summer, so that means there's no school. I'm a substitute school teacher, which means I'm on call. So now that it's summer, I'm home. So I get up in the morning and I have all kinds of little critters that need my attention because I'm the only human that lives in my house. And then I have amateur radio. So I have my friends to talk to on the radio, and of course there's the internet. And there's always stuff that needs doing in the house. There's always laundry and all that other fun stuff. And then once a week I get to come here and ride a horse. And that's the whole day. I drive a 1990 Mustang LX, and he has hand controls. A hand control is a lever on the left side of the steering column. It's very simple. It controls both the gas and the brakes simply with levers. And to accelerate, you press the lever down. To brake, you push it away from you. There's also a spinner knob on the steering wheel. So you put your right hand on the spinner knob at all times, and you control the speed and the braking of the car with the lever. So that's how I drive. Well, when it's snowy and icy out and I can't go out, I don't go out, which of course makes work a bit challenging and a bit nerve-wracking. But those things happen, and what are you going to do? If it's not safe to go out, then, if I can't get from my car to the garage safely down the wheelchair ramp, then unfortunately I can't go out. And that's just the way it is. But those days don't happen too often, at least in terms of work.
Patty is an incredible woman with guts, as are all the other women you've seen in this program. Looking back at how each woman applied the guts formula to overcome obstacles, you can see how to apply this process to your own life. Now you know what it takes to be a woman with guts.
We all want to end the day feeling like we really made a difference somehow in some small way. And whether that's in your family, your professional life, in business, I think that's really, really important for everyone. But I think it's a particularly important message for women.
Now that I have the guts to stand up for what I believe in and go after my dreams, I'm gonna succeed.
As long as you put me on a horse, I'm fairly happy. When you let me do my own thing, I'm even more happy.
What is a woman with guts? Me.